Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Red Pill Garage. Today I'm going to show you how to do a power steering oil flush with no mess. Okay, this is the oil we'll be using today. A catch can, an ordinary bung that you can pick up from your local spare parts shop, long nose angled pliers, our air operated oil extractor, and make sure you follow the manufacturer's recommendations for the correct oil for your power steering system. This is usually located in your maintenance and service manual. You might be thinking this is a daunting task, but I'm going to show you how easy this is to do. Once you've located the power steering pump, remove the oil cap from the reservoir. And when you see your oil turning black or brown like that, it's definitely time to do a power steering oil flush. The power steering system consists of a high and low pressure power steering hoses. The high pressure hose has a crimp style hose fitting, and the low pressure hose has the spring action style clamp. This is the hose we are going to disconnect from the power steering pump reservoir. It is the return hose from the steering rack back to the pump, and we're going to get the power steering pump to pump that dirty oil out of that hose. Now it's time to use our air operated oil extractor. Now when removing the oil out of the power steering reservoir, make sure you don't force the tube in there too hard when sucking the oil out. Reason being because it has a plastic type filter in there or a mesh, and you can easily tear it if you probe in there too hard. Just take your time and be gentle with it. You won't be able to remove all the oil, but you'll get rid of most of it. If you don't have an air operated oil extractor, you can just grab the turkey baster out of the kitchen. I'm sure the missus wouldn't mind. Okay, next we're going to remove the spring action style clamp with our long nose pliers. Just before you fully remove the hose, make sure you put a rag underneath the hose and have your bung ready to go. You're only going to lose a couple of drops here, but you certainly won't make a mess if you have your rag in place. Just wipe off any excess. And there you go, there's no mess. Okay, next you're going to grab your catch can and you're going to bend your return hose into the bottle, and you want to wedge that bottle in a safe place where it's not going to move around. In this case here, I'm going to put it between the chassis and the body. This camera angle doesn't do it any justice. It does look fairly close to the fan, but it's actually not. Okay, now it's time to pour in your power steering oil. When doing this, don't pour the oil in too quickly because it will spill over the top. At this stage of the flush, you can overfill the reservoir. You want to get as much oil in there as you can. You can see there now that I've purposely overfilled that. Okay, next step. Now that the reservoir is full, we're going to start the motor, but For the purpose of this video, I have a helper that's going to do that for us, so I can show you what's going on under the bonnet. This job you can actually do yourself, no help needed. But it's really important to remember, when you do start the motor, you must turn the steering wheel with one hand quickly and the other hand on the ignition key to shut the motor down. The idea of this to be a successful power steering flush is to turn the steering wheel from lock to lock so the fluid is forced out under pressure with any rubbish in the dirty oil to be flushed out. But because the power steering reservoir is so small, it will run out of oil quickly, and you don't want to draw in any air into the system, as the power steering runs on fluid, not air. So you'll need to shut the engine down within about 2 seconds. Okay, once you've finished the first stage of the flush, you've got to refill that reservoir right to the top again. And you're probably wondering, how do I know when I've completed the power steering flush? Well, just a general rule of thumb, what I actually do is I start from the steering wheel being in the center position with the wheels straight, and as I'm working through the power steering flush, I turn the steering all the way to the left, full lock, then all the way to the right, full lock, and then back in the central position, and usually by that time it's all done. You can just see there, we caught that just in time. You can actually see that filter at the bottom. You also want to gauge how much fluid you've got in that bottle, in that catch can, because if you don't check, it will overfill and you will make a mess everywhere. So every time you do it, just check to see the level's fine, and once it reaches its full level, then you can remove it and tip it out. Okay, well, now we're going to refill it again. Just remember, not too fast, just take your time with it. Now we're going to start it again and continue to turn the steering wheel, but only for a couple of seconds only. There we go, caught that in time again. Just check our catch can, we're not going to overfill it. All good. Process starts all over again. We're going to refill it again. You'll probably find doing this you will have to fill up that reservoir several times. You'll probably go through approximately 2.5 to 3 litres of oil. So you want to make sure you have enough oil handy so you don't run out. There we go. Just made it. Okay, we're going to pump some more oil in there. Okay, there's a lot of crud in that oil. It's definitely not gold in colour. Just wipe the excess off the hose itself so you don't drip oil anywhere. Once you've emptied out the old oil, you can start again. Like I said before, to complete the flush, you want to make sure you start back in the same position you originally started with. So for example, if the steering wheel was centralized and the wheels were straight, and you've turned all the way to the left full lock, all the way to the right full lock, and then you come back to the central position, that means you've done. That's the only way to get the crud out from every nook and cranny, is by turning the wheel from lock to lock. Okay, my helper's just yelled out to me to say that we've done our complete lock to lock, and the steering wheel's back in the central position where we started from. So this part of the flush is now complete. Okay, the next step, we're going to remove the return hose out of our catch can. Just make sure you have your rag handy. Just give the hose a bit of a wipe down, so don't go making any mess. And now it's time to pull off our bung. Again, place your rag underneath just to catch the excess. Perfect, no mess. I did say at the beginning of this video there'll be no mess. There you go. Okay, now I'm going to give the hose a quick wipe down to get rid of any excess oil. Remove the bottle out of the engine bay. And now we're going to slide our spring action clamp to where it was before. And the next step is we're going to fill up the reservoir with oil now. Now you just have to remember not to overfill the reservoir. Okay, once you've done that, now it's time to start the engine, and you have to cycle the steering wheel, so turn it from lock to lock. You can do that a couple of times, and once you've done that, you can shut the engine down and recheck the oil level. So you want to make sure that oil's cycling everywhere. So you want to turn it from lock to lock. Once that's completed, you can go ahead and shut the engine down. Check the oil level. It looks like it needs a top up. Okay, now I'm going to finalize the oil level. Now keep in mind you have a hot and cold mark, and you want to go off the cold mark because the oil that you've just put in there is cold, hasn't reached normal operating temperature. So you don't want to go overfilling it. And finally, just give it a quick wipe down and then you're done. And that's how you do a proper power steering oil flush. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And hit that subscribe button, not to miss out on any new videos. And I'll see you on the next episode of Red Pill Garage. Thanks for watching.